Hello, friends and family. Nice to have you all here. How are you doing? Nice to see you, Phil. You're in here first. Well done, Boris, for getting involved in this show. Good to see you, Peter. Good to see you, Jamie. That's TradeSpot in there as well. Nice to have you all. In today's show, we will be talking Bitcoin price action, as ever, alongside the hottest altcoins in the cryptocurrency space. I hope you're all doing very, very well, and we will be looking at the technical analysis, of course, today. If you do have any news or fundamental stuff that you'd like to discuss, then be sure to drop a comment in there, and we can chat about all sorts of things to do with cryptocurrency. But we're going to be looking at the technical analysis here for Bitcoin for today and of course the coming days. And we have seen the price action operate inside this territory here, and I have a bit of construction materials, some pieces, little puzzle pieces that we can use to kind of mess around with here and see if we can get these to line up with the price action in any way that's revealing at all to us. And check in with our horizontal lines as well and see how everybody has been getting on with their trading. And also we're going to be talking about a wee trading fund thing that we're setting up for enjoyment and education. So all of that and more to come in the immediate future. If you could all hit like, that would be awesome. Like, hit it, like. Hit the like button. Have you hit like? Have you hit like? I'll come back when you hit like. I'll come back. Okay. Right, I'm back. And the chat box down below here will start populating with your chat messages as soon as they get delivered to the YouTube land. How are you all doing, everybody there? Hello, friends, says Phil. Anyone heard of spider lines used in technical analysis? That's something that your chap over at the old crypto face land likes to use, I do believe. So that's something we can talk about in another episode for today, but you guys can chat about it all if you want to in the chat there. So it's right, cool. So what we were going to be talking about just here was these construction materials, right? So I'll just zoom back out here and get rid of the oscillators and ask a couple of questions with you chaps out there as we see the price action on the 24-hour time frame operating within the top end of the Bollinger Band, just so you got the sort of the overview here as well, popping onto auto, so it just automatically sorts that out for us. Top end of the Bollinger Bands as well, again here in the 4-hour time frames. Lovely jubbly, good to see. 1-hour time frame, well, we are of course experiencing a bit of ranging price action here in at 60,000, that extremely important level. So just jumping back up towards 24-hour time frame and discarding the Bollinger Bands for now, just to clear up the screen a wee bit, and as well just get rid of the I'll just get rid of some of these moving averages because we don't need all of them on there for now. Let's just leave the bigger term time frame ones on and change this over to 21 exponential for today's show here. So we're going to be taking a look at the price action with regards to the 21 period exponential moving average across a few different time frames. The price action in relation to the 50 simple period moving average here, this red dotted line, and occasionally checking in with this white dotted line here, the 200 period simple moving average. And this starting off point is the 24-hour time frame, where in previous episodes of the show we had already drawn in numerous horizontal levels for us. So we have these drawn out. Let's just kind of roll with them, and we can adjust them if we need to. You can remember in a previous episode as well, we had this lined up like an ascending triangle just as such over here, which is where these construction lines I was talking about come from. And this is the measured move that we were talking about, taking us up potentially towards the sort of 75k region and checking in with the sort of 69,000 region perhaps along the way. But I just wanted to kind of ask all you out there what you think of this price action, and if you're looking at it with more of an eye to the wedge type format just in this area. This is of course the logarithmic chart I've just added this to the, you can just see it just up here. I've added this latest feature to the layout. It's working now. If you can change it, you can see if it goes from log to whatever. So it's kind of, so are you thinking along these sorts of lines just here anyway, with a wedge of some sort? And what's your just your general opinion on things? And we talked about, if the prices did pop outside of this zone here, would they come back down and follow along these lines with this arrow? And it's kind of nice to see that the prices are indeed finding a little bit of the old resistance, I suppose you could say, and then retesting this area as support for us right in there. So it's nice to see this kind of this zone showing us that this is indeed an area that to have been aware of. So it kind of begs the question of, really, have we actually fulfilled any movement outside of that red line? And should we have had it positioned slightly higher up perhaps, and not cutting through these bodies here as we speculated about before? And it does really just define the overall zone that we're looking to break out from if we just plop it on like such. And this is kind of what we were saying is about before, saying that we're happy to take longs, you know, from the 62k area up the way. We haven't necessarily changed the dynamics really quite yet, although of course, you know, maybe this is a touch of the old watch pot never boils syndrome, and that if we did resolve the prices towards the downside for a pullback, the best buy price area in the near term future for a still bullish outcome scenario would be in at around about this area just here. So we had all of that in mind, and things are still the same overall. So right now I'm still going to, you know, stick with the bullish scenario from the longer term time frames, absolutely. And by longer I mean I'm up here in the 24-hour time frame. I'm looking at this overall and I'm thinking, yeah, we have a great chance of pushing towards the top side, and I don't want to think about it in terms of it just being a wedge just here, or indeed by collapsing the price action down overall and looking too closely at the overall potential wedge towards the top side until such times as something has changed with regards to the price action. So where am I looking to in terms of that change? Well, these two areas towards the lower side of that ascending triangle we're talking about, or the larger wedge, coincide around about that support area at the mid 50,000 zone. And if we do push towards the top side, taking it through the measured move, it resolved towards the top side of course, this wedge. So overall, the macro picture can still remain the same, and as put emphasis on of course, the ongoing current trend, which is towards the top side, for that to continue in amongst this price action here, which does have a statistical play out towards the top side if you're looking at it from this ascending triangle point of view. Fan Dabby Dozy putting in the overall just my general sort of look at the market right now. I am not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, but just as a general sort of view to the market right now, how I'd be looking at it, anywhere in this region is offering you up a pretty good buy overall for a resolution towards the top side, just depending on your overall on your current bias, you know, for whatever you're looking to play out from. For example, if you're just playing a move from a breakout above this line at the 61,500, 62,000 region, saying we've broken that and we're looking for a resolution towards the top side, you could look up towards 75k for a lovely play up the way and be fairly confident in your position, even if the price is retraced all the way back down to the sort of 53k area, giving you an overall 2.5 to 1 on that. And any play from within this zone is offering up extremely good, you know, upside potential. So anybody that's bought into any of these dips is going to really celebrate a move above the 62k resistance zone with great fervor, given the overall risk to reward profile that they have on any trade at that point. Of course, you know, along the way, being able to move up your particular tolerances to different areas, bringing in decent risk to reward moves towards the top side. So this is kind of how I'm hoping for things to play out, with a look to kind of saying that if you were looking to go short in it, you would be having to choose your fake out territory beneath this territory, beneath the move of the pattern. if there was a pullback, because you're going very heavily counter trend at that point, so movements down the way, you'd be looking and I'm not a financial advisor, again, none of this financial advice, but looking down, to this zone here and saying, well, we need to push past this area to carry on down the way, giving you, again, not the most ideal, but a decent enough risk to reward relationship if you're looking down for continuation on down towards the 41k area for your overall fulfillment of this measured move towards the downside, but the risk zone on this is very heightened in it around about your previous lows, and the risk reward overall at the minute isn't offering up that amazing potential in terms of the logarithmic charts, or looking at eyeballing the thing, really, and when once you start looking at your previous lows over here, and that's the relationship between how far we are up at the minute, we're up at our previous highs, and that's the zone that we need to push past, and currently getting a bit of resistance in here. So the range that we're looking to play overall is defined inside this zone if there is going to be ranging behavior here, and taking profits on down at that 58k area in terms of scalp moves, totally understandable. And then of course, if we are looking down towards the downside, this previous low at the 55,700, or 55,555, if you're looking at it like how I've been talking about it, is going to be our key adjustment area in terms of our mental shift zone. If we're going to have to start changing gears psychologically, then it's going to come in at around about that zone, so we have to wait for the patience for us if we did look down that way. But of course, we're still riding so high, so bullish on it, and I'm talking about the overall, if you were to actually go from here, then you'd have to bear in mind that this is the natural risk that you're buying into with any moves that haven't moved beyond that zone. Thereafter, if you are playing towards the top side, you're looking between those two areas. So that's the key point for today's takeaway for everybody here with regards to Bitcoin technical analysis on the price action for the next wee while. We've scoped out the overall movement here, and there's a couple of things that are remaining to us to do is to maybe zoom, drill down a little bit here, still in 24-hour time frame, to get a bit of detail on the go. And by the way, buddy Alex, for instance, I'll jump over and take a look at Litecoin in the near future. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Peter here talking about psychological level in at 60k there as well. I can see in the background of the chat, so we're both kind of hinting towards the same sort of ideas here as well. Now, right, looking up here, we can see upward slant of 21 EMA on the daily, carrying that down the way upward on the 12-hour, the 4-hour, the 2-hour. And it's only when you get down towards the really low time frames you get any sort of sideways price action. That's really relatable in terms of this, the movement that we've had since come up towards the 62k area. Overall, things could be making a sort of bullish case scenario still playing out on every sort of time frame for us all the way down until you're looking below that 58k area. Sort of it's compounded there in terms of the price, in terms of just looking at the price action with regards to our moving averages, just getting that really reinforced with us having a golden cross over here on that 1-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame, of course, living good, and all of these support levels being reinforced every time and again with regards to what we're seeing here on the moving averages for Bitcoin. So that's what are the moving averages telling us with regards to the Bitcoin price action right here and now for today, and looking towards the next few days. We can see that everything's looking quite rosy with really broad areas for support coming in there where you need to see them to maintain the structural integrity of this pattern, if that's what we're going to be experiencing. Looking for any sort of decent moves up the way, afterwards, when we get confirmation is prudent, and within the zone, looking at this range here, we've got the 200 simple coming in towards the downside on the 4-hour time frame, saying keep your eye out for that if we did need to retrace down to it, as we so often do. We've come in for a recent high here, got two peaks here on the 4-hour time frame. So at the minute, kind of looking for this to resolve with an upward side continuation pattern, if this was some sort of diamond or bull flag or pennant of some sort on this time frame. But it's just sideways into this zone, so that's kind of wishing for something. If we did drop down the way, then you'd be saying this was some sort of Adam and Eve, and it just expresses the range here. Probably it does between the the zones looking down to those key areas. So that's really what we've got on the go here with this one. Overall, very much bullish case to be made here until such times as we're really breaking down more than 10% from where we are currently to really kind of change the psychological shift if there's going to be one. Otherwise, we've got these targets up the way and we'll just stay on it. But we can see the oscillators then to broaden out that story for us. The MACD showing us we've got this tightening here going on, and that's kind of just showing us that we, of course, it ties in perfectly with the concepts of the pattern and the tightening and the consolidation that's happening just here at an area of support. So, you know, looking for this to have a movement up the way, then you'd need to see things ratchet up a wee bit. So we've got a degree of that happening just there for us. We can see the same scenario with the RSI. Of course, this downward sloping idea does hint at bearish divergence, you know, saying that at every time at this point when we've come up, we're going to probably express the range, which is why we're dropping in here this kind of idea that the next best buy area for those who haven't already bought in at the minute, and until such times as we've broken above 62k, remains at the 56 to 58k zone, as opposed to the 58 to 60k zone, until such times as you've confirmed above the 62k zone, at which point you're looking for the next movement up the way to catch a chunk of that 10% movement, because we're going to see that there's potential for us to do this one more time. Sure, there is. If we continue out the way, is it overbaked at this point? No, it's not. It's a good time for it to do it, so it could absolutely happen soon. So what do we have elsewhere in terms of well, you know, one of these movements could take us back up, and then of course we've got the opportunity to continue on with highs on this time frame, having burnt off the bearish divergence, being able to put in another high at some point, pushing past one of these previous ones without the divergence if we go up towards the targets there. So, you know, there's a positive case to be made there for the ultra bullish moves, you know. Over here though, we're seeing that we're in chop territory, but we're positioned nicely with ADX pointing directly up, you know, not directly up, but nice degrees, nice angle up the way here on the ADX, looking so that we've got, you know, the potential to this to flick past into 20, 25, etc., and carry us on the way with that strength. But we're still in chop. It's not confirmed at any you know, in any way estimation yet, and of course the same sort of divergence that you're seeing there. So we're playing the sort of patience game still at the minute, with knowing that the day to open up our presence is getting soon. Let's just hope that they're what we asked for. You can see this increasing lower stochastics movement here while we've had the higher highs, the higher lows, giving us that hidden bullish divergence, you know, giving us a little bit of sort of bullish momentum towards the top side, if we so desire to exploit it. And the MFI itself kind of just slopping around here, and it's moving towards the top side, not coming in and sort of pushing up and saying that we've got the volume as yet. As you can see, you know, just as a sort of confirmation volume wise for breakouts at this point, we've not really had one quite yet, volume wise. So kind of looking at that prematurely and saying that we're in this zone, retesting it, it's still kind of, you know, is this zone that we're looking to. That's everything for what we need to see here. But if you want to kind of broaden that out a bit, I want to point out that it does look more wedgy, just so you've got the idea as well. Even on the MFI here, seeing this tightening that we saw on the RSI, when we jump over towards the CME Futures Charts, I want to show that we have this with this increase in highs on the stochastics here as well, and we have the overall potential for us to stay very much in the bullish mode in terms of the DMI, but then again, of course, you can see quite clearly how this has got that sort of Christmas tree tightening formation on the go, and everything's tightening up as well here, but without such, you know, without what we're seeing so much in the spot prices of it being as regimented, and with the sort of the same sort of bullish divergences that you might be looking for, and the peaks on this one kind of coming in nicely to just give us that extra sort of more kind of wedge type look. That of course has that negative type aspect to it. So can we kind of buck the negativity of this one? Well, certainly we can, but it's there to be seen at the minute. So we have that potential for pullback. So at the minute, just waiting for the confirmation essentially is the prudent play. We're still in a mode where we can continue on the way, but this of course is showing us all of this as a result of the positive price action, as a result of these divergent highs that we've had. We've got this pushed on that little bit more, and of course what that means is that there's a lot of people out there who are saying, I'm taking profit. Okay, I'll take some profit. So what we need to see is to have that kind of reset then. So we're waiting for that to kind of emerge in the markets. Hence, the tightening on that we're seeing here as well. So that's that one. Right, cool. What do you think about OGN or NKN? A couple of questions there. You need to check out Feta, says Michael Vitagliano. We also have somebody, Alex, earlier on asking about Litecoin. So want to get through the episode in a decent pace today. I've given a nice summary over here with regards to Bitcoin. Before we move on to check out the rest of the show, I want to show what we have over here. Just opened up the futures charts as well on Binance on this little account that I've created just for the fun of it for the show. If I jump over to the balance section here, you'll be able to see that there is what? Nothing? Is that right? Is that right? Have I fluffed this up somehow? No, there we have it. So there you have it. The balance is $50. I think I've transferred that into the futures account. I'll probably transfer that back. Absolutely, yeah. Let's transfer that back, because I was thinking what we could do is we could chat on the show and in the box, in the chat box there, about different coins available obviously on Binance here, and create a fund account. If you really like a certain coin and want me to take a look at a particular coin, then you could donate to the channel. If you say that you're going long, for instance, then you could donate to the channel to whatever the deposit address is for that coin that you're liking the look of, and we could put a little sort of spot account there with these suggestions, or indeed you could donate in whatever method you like, and then we could just do a little sort of long trade and put one in together in terms of choosing something, but not me pushing my book or doing any sort of breaking the rules thing, but an interactive trading fund idea where of course the decisions are made by the audience, not by me myself. But I'll present some TA and we can talk about it and get some back and forth and make sure that we're doing whatever, and then we can choose doing the right thing, I suppose. Overall, I'm not a financial advisor, none of this financial advice, but I'm going to let you be the financial advisor to me and tell me then therefore where you think I should put in any trade ideas, and we'll make maybe 1 or 2 spot trade ideas from this and use the $50 for it. Wouldn't it be great to see this go to $1 million overall? Well, starting here, small beginnings, and then seeing how we can grow the thing up. I don't see why we can't get some success in that account and have some fun with it. So let's see. You can be my financial advisor. So let's kind of, thanks Drew's Tech for saying cool idea. So let's see then, what do you really think, guys? And if you want me to, of course, if you're really desperate for me to take a look at the likes of OGN, NKN, or Feta, then Most Valuable Goon says, what's Feta? I'll have to give it a look. And somebody else said, you need to check out Feta. I'm feeling that Feta is a spammy type coin. So if you guys want me to take a look at the Feta charts, then you can donate to the channel, right? Otherwise, I will not be looking at Feta, because I'm getting the feeling that you guys are bots. Prove me wrong, guys. Prove me wrong. I'd love it if you prove me wrong. Then we'll check out your coin. Otherwise, of course, you can, donate to the channel, all that sort of stuff, donate to things. So let me know if you're looking for the address for any particular coin, right? Just let me know. I'll pop it into the chat there, for instance, Bitcoin, etc. But you might be looking to deposit something like ERC20 USDT, for example, because that's a cheapy one for the old transfers, isn't it? So like there's that address, for example, in there. That's USDT TRC. Well, anyway, but I was like, for example, I'm just not pushing that though at the minute. We'll stick a spot trade on later on, and we've got $50 budget. Okay, that's what we've got. That's what we'll do, and then we'll come back and check it out Wednesday and Friday, right? Fun stuff. Excellent. Right. Cool. I've got like something in my eye, I feel like now. What is that? I think it's an eyelash. Right. So let's just jump on over towards. Look at that. I've got a bit of the old writing on here. What was I saying there? Bullish, hitting bullish divergence. Break. The things look good if above 1650. Definitely upside target 2200. Went up the way up towards, what did it go into? 2200. Nice one. So that old technical analysis worked very well for us back then. Certainly played out very nicely. Coming in there for a 2618 Fibonacci retracement overall on that one. So we'll just consign that to the past now at this stage and take a look at this with fresh eyes. Okay, if I'm coming into this if I was coming into this just to look at this chart for the first time with a completely neutral perspective on things, I would be seeing, first off, a crazy bullish asset overall here. For some reason, people are valuing it down here at fractions of what it's worth nowadays, and it's roared towards the top side, and it seems to have upward side momentum carrying it into this highs of the 2200s, when it has suffered pullbacks so far along the way. It's managed to have enough momentum in it to do 36% pullbacks and yet still continue up the way, resulting in actually overall, unfortunately for its kind of current position, in this kind of wedge type idea as well. But it's the same scenario with Bitcoin. Can we push past certain zones? Well, where is this happening at? And we know this is happening in the old blue sky zones, whatever, the all-time highs areas for this coin. So this is absolutely fantastic to see that it's pushed up here, and the diminishing volume comes in as people taking profit, waiting for us to see if the prices are able to push up the way past this zone, or if they need to consolidate further. Excuse me for the old itchy eyiness there. It's really doing me. We're not bots, haha. We just believe in this project, not an ordinary shitcoin. Well, there you go. Nice one. Thanks for proving me wrong. You see a lot of it on YouTube, right? Two people having a conversation, you think, well, hey, especially if they're being positive, right? Also, what's your thoughts on BNB? I'm not in this community where everybody's positive to each other. I'm just saying. Also, what's your thoughts on BNB? Can it take over Ethereum? Interesting question. A very interesting question, and what we're seeing is very good strength in BNB, and it has got some good reasons for it with its BSC sort of smart chain. Interesting point of view. Can it take over Ethereum? Well, or is there room for them to live? Can man and fish coexist? I wonder. It depends. We've got these sort of targets, don't we, that we put on things like Ethereum 2.0 becoming fully fledged. Will it actually sort out the fees issue overall or not? Could we be looking at that? Got to wonder about these things. If you were to go for a 60% area move off the back of any negative downward play here, I wouldn't be looking any further really necessarily than down towards that 1400 zone. Pushing on past the way, then I'd be coming in for a 200 simple moving average test here on the daily time frame. So if that were to happen, if you're to get negativity on this thing at all, so just like drawing in some red lines here, this general zone would be where you would be aiming for in a greedy mindset if you're trying to counterplay this currently with the upward side potential. But we are indeed seeing that drop off in the volume. That's not to say that there won't be an increase in volume yet again, but it's just it really depends, then as well, how far we could expect to see things possibly go if they do indeed push northward. This is the linear chart, by the way, so that's why that measuring stick stayed a similar sort of size, and this does bring you up towards the 3k area if you get a positive resolution on this consolidation. Is it possible for it to happen? Absolutely is. The best buy areas for us have been seeing it at these areas, and what we're seeing is that it drops down towards the 50 and it's able to stay above the 50 overall. It does have a zone below giving you the your better buy price, but then of course once it retakes the 50, you've got an opportunity here to play it for a longer move, perhaps towards the top side. And we're seeing that resolve overall. If it did come down towards the lower end, the 1800 area, sort of 1900 to 1800 would be your best buy price. But we're seeing the 21 EMA pointing up nicely on the 24-hour time frame, and things going on, overall in a positive overall frame of mind. The last couple of highs are not divergent. What did we have here? Somebody's gone done something, but I didn't see it. Michael John Scott's become a member. Thank you, Michael John Scott. Thank you for Micah. Smooth. Nice. Excellent for Micah, my friend. Good to have you here doing that sort of good stuff. Right, so anyway, yeah, so, we've in the last couple, of course, the overall impulse up the way has got this large peak on it, which is showing us that in this period since we've not had continuation to the likes of which we've seen before, giving us warning signs at any given time. Warning signs which, if you're playing it just on a pure spot account basis, doesn't necessarily, scare you too much, but you're seeing 36%, 27% there, and if you were to go down towards the lower end, 20%, giving you a sort of a tightening up as well overall, in terms of a diminished returns look towards the downside if you're continuing to short it in terms of your potential gains in the face of increased support in these areas towards the top side. So bullish scenario continues on up the way. I'll remain very much bullish on it while it's above $2,000. Any plays that you're having, recommend that you kind of bear in mind the overall volatility on this thing from a little sort of just word to the wise kind of point of view. Just zooming on in the way here and looking back, you can see that after a day or 2 days you can get a little bit frustrated if you're seeing movements which add up to just a couple of percent, but then you think to yourself, well, like, what happens whenever it does move overall? Well, that's what I was meaning before about if it moves just a couple of percent and you keep stacking on along, just wait for confirmation a little bit. Perhaps, I'm not a financial advisor, and if you see a diminish a trend towards the downside, it can kick off and come all the way down towards lower targets, without actually really necessarily setting the header alight in terms of what anybody would be saying about things. Bitcoin, Ethereum at the minute is consolidating sideways. We're waiting to see how this one resolves. We have got our move idea, what we discussed recently, in here playing out for us so far, saying that we're in positive territory. Can we push up towards those highs? What we're looking up towards here, somewhere between the sort of 0.04 and up price point on the Ethereum Bitcoin price pairing. After we've done here, we have a diamond type strategy mentality in this zone here, seeing with the higher high and the lower low ish, if you want to kind of consider it to be like that. I'm not 100% sure that is necessarily a lower low or not an optical illusion, but just the all of these things resolve the same way. Not all of them resolve the same way, but you've seen me talking or heard me, you'll have heard me saying before about how you have like twin peak strategies and lumping Head and Shoulders and Adam and Eve, etc., into them, and then talking about the psychology that goes around those zones that you'd be breaking past and how that relates to horizontal areas, and as well perhaps the potential Fibonacci zones you'd be looking to, etc., etc. Well, you've got the same sort of scenario when it comes to consolidation after a rise. It's going to be diagnosed by one particular person as a flag of some sort. Another person is going to start saying this is a triangle. Another person's going to say it's a half staff. And another one. Well, and you can also then have people chucking in their hat in with the diamond crowd as well. But a lot of the time, what you're looking at is saying that you've had an impulse up consolidation, and you might go for something similar yet again. Looking at the range towards the top side as being sort of as demolishable as the previous one was. And what we can see is that we've had a nice, then with this impulse move up, reluctance for this the 50 and the 200 simple to cross negatively here, and we could actually then suffer a retrace, which would amount to as much as a 10% retrace on this one, and still have the overall positive upward trend in our favor, continuing forwards at this point on the way. Just need to see this continuing up. I just want everybody's, if we're going to say about the trend, like the reason this could snap back the way is if you look back 50 plus bars, you'll see that is actually all the price action where we had the highs. So the 200 is very much going to continue to go towards the top side, whereas the 50 is being supported by the recent price action, and of course the 21 highly angular towards the top side. But we need to see this play out, which is why you can tie all those things together and say that the discussion about this has to involve the idea of us getting a move along this potential, and that would take you up to the 618 zones, etc., towards the top side, and then of course it could plop you right back down the way towards these previous areas down below, and that would all be happening in amongst, of course, interaction with those EMAs. So this is what I'm looking for, resolution of this thing, and I'm just saying that you're going to be playing it wise and playing it smart if you're looking to refrain from taking high risk moves which involve incorporating the entire range of consolidation within your risk tolerance before you actually are able to make a decision, which is what you see so often amongst newer traders out there, is that they would have to then include in their risk management at the very, very least that entire area of consolidation between the highs and the lows to try and survive within a trade, only to then find themselves getting out of it at the point where it pushes past certain zones. You're better off overall having a bit of give and take, looking at your trade and trying to get in at a better area, a better buy price overall. So we've had a pullback today in today's price action, dropping down towards the 4-hour time frame. You can see, of course, this is the potential to turn into downward, a downward flag. We've got this low followed up by a lower low, high followed up by a lower high, and then in terms of the overall downward trajectory of this thing, you've got that increase over there. It's not happening so far for it. If we did push on down the way, then it's not the most amazing 4-hour downward trend. It's there. It's just happened. It's just this consolidation. So still looking for that resolution. That's what we're waiting for. Other things to look at: total market cap continue to go towards the top side. Bitcoin dominance continue to go towards the downside. This is exactly what we've been wanting to talk about for so long. Bitcoin dominance, or total market cap, up. Bitcoin dominance, down. Bitcoin price, up. What's that add up to? It adds up to the potential for wonderful altcoin season. So let's see. Will this go through? If so, see comments to look at. Feta, please, and thank you. Okay, Mike, let's take a look at Feta. Is it going to be glorious? By the way, nobody's actually specified, so I'm going to just assume that you mean Feta versus USDT. Struggling to get that there, so I'm just going to go Feta first off. Not seeing it. Am I getting the wrong? Let me know Feta. Let me just bring up Feta on the old Feta coin market cap, right? Where is it traded at, etc. Feta token, Feta. So I've said the word a whole bunch of times so far. That's not got me any closer to seeing the price action for us. We can see markets over here. This is how you navigate this thing, right? And it's on Pancake Swap. So don't know if I've got a Pancake Swap chart for us to take a look at in any way for me to see it, but I can see WBNB. So let's see. This is fantastic. Yeah, well done to the bots. No, they've got so good. The Turing test, it goes so. If they've really managed to be convincing here. Right, so it's only traded on Pancake Swap, right? Let's see the Pancake Swap. Do they give you a chart to look at in any way for me to get us? PooCoin says Yassine E. Not getting the boos in the background from other folk. How are we going to see? We'll just look at it here on Coin Market Cap for a little bit, and we'll stick it up to all. There's all. So we've got it started over there. It started Genesis kind of would have been maybe April Fool's Day, and so far towards the top side. Overall diminishing volume while the prices are moving up the way. The difference between the high here is 8 cents and the low is about 4 cents. The high here is 8.6 and the low here is 5.6. So the difference between the high and the low is tightening, so that's a wedge there in that regard. This high is very much lower. The difference between the high here and the previous high was somewhere between 3 cents and 8 cents. It's a 5 cents difference, looking at 150% move towards the top side, and the difference between the low here at this point was 1.5 up to 5. So you're looking at a huge hundreds of percent increase in terms of the lows. The lows here, are up to 4, so then 4 up to 5, less than that. So you're seeing this unlikely to be seeing any hidden bullish divergence on a chart if this had a proper one. So there you go. You can do the T8 with this link. Got a link coming up for us to do the T8. Excellent. Share the link there. They're only enabled for humans. I've not got a link. Tell me what it is then. Tell me what it is. I'll come back to this in a couple of minutes, right? It's not right there, whatever. Because I'm going to move on for just now and take a look at Link and Tezos. I want people to give me an idea of what they think is the best buy at the minute. So far, what do you think is the best buy? Are you buying into the idea that Bitcoin's the best buy? Is Ethereum the best buy? If these two we've looked at so far, they don't have radically different charts. And as we can see over here on this, are you more inclined to think that this is an Adam and Eve, perhaps here an Adam with an Eve with a this keys area, and we'll be dropping down the way? Or are you likely liable to be thinking that there's some sort of idea here for us to potentially go up the way? What are you overall thinking with regards to that? So have we got a leader so far? And if we play it like a knockout cup competition, which of these two's getting through for you the most? All I can say right now is that we're consolidating. We've got on the 24-hour time frame, we've got a negative cross here, but as the ADX has dropped down below, that's the 4-hour time frames dropped down below. They're all negative overall at the minute. So that's the consolidation post rise. 24-hour time frame, a bit of the old bearish divergence. Do we pull back down the way? Do we put in an overall lower high, continue to trend up the way, but just come in for more of the same? I wonder at the minute. Both of them overall, their versus dollar haven't done very, very well, obviously. So then we can come back. So who can I send the link to? Just read it. Just type it in terms of. Check the project in the website, right? Check the project in the website, so then I can go and see the website and see if it'll tell me where it's traded. So buy it there. It's not telling us the chart there, right? But has this got it? Is this a chart? This might be what you want me to do. Who knows? Would you like to start? No, I wouldn't like to start whatever that is. It's not loaded up, so that was a fail. Might be something to do with Brave browser. Wow. Whew. Oh, if life was just easy enough to have us with a trade and view link. If you replace the dot with dot and remove the prefix and suffix and enter anything else you need in second line, it'll work. Yeah, there you go. That's what you do. Excellent. So with all that ingenuity, the human ingenuity, we'll struggle through. We'll get there in the end. So let's take a look then at this point and say, well, are we in line for alt season? Red across the alts mostly. Just check out versus Bitcoin. We're obviously seeing the alts by and large haven't had a hammering overall versus the dollar coin. We're seeing that the alts by and large not doing so well. There's a couple of outliers in that sense. Quick kind of looking at them, you've got the Chiz, you've got the BNBs. BNB at the minute 594, fantastic. We should take a look at that. Anchor doing well at last, I suppose, what people have been asking for. So we can take a look at all of that. Yeah, we'll have to do that fairly quickly. I'll have to just do kind of episodal style chunks of this. FTT's doing all right, and then the big names that you've heard of not doing so well. So is it just the merry-go-round at the minute is happening, and we're waiting for Chainlink and Tezos to get their second bite at the cherry, or are we waiting for them to go up towards the top side? That's what we're going to discuss in today's episode here for Chainlink and Tezos. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm actually filming this during a live show, but right now I'm going to make myself large screen sort of way. Look at this. Whoa. And we'll take a look at the charts together here and kind of try and make up our mind. Are we about to try and capitalize off of the good stuff that we've seen happening with regards to the potential for a strong alt season? Is this wedging format on Bitcoin still allowing for upward price action while we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance chart drop towards the downside, and of course Bitcoin itself performing strongly. So in that case, that kind of spells one thing. Normally that would kind of indicate that you've got potential for strong alt season. Chat, checking in with the total price, the total charts to see, of course, things have done well. A little bit of a wick on today's move, but of course at the 2 trillion price point, are we going to see a radical change in behavior? Now we thought, you know, it was a massive deal going past the 1 trillion price point. So are we just waiting for things to kind of resolve and give us a chance at moving upwards and onwards with regards to these two coins right now? Let's take a look at the pair of them, Tezos and Chainlink. Okay, that's what we're looking at. Thanks for joining me. As I run these intro clips, by the way, I would just like to appeal to your better sense of like-hitting sensibilities. Like button, hitting like button, very good, appreciated. Like button, black screen, I swear I'm serious, like button, right, okay, cool. So if you could hit the like button, that'd be awesome. And this is the Tezos versus USDT chart. We've moved towards the top side, came up above the $7 area. We actually pushed quite a high up towards $7, not fully taken it out, then moving up to 724 and capitulating, if you like, back down the way, shedding a big chunk of price action for us, big chunks of price, got dropping sort of 16% between its highs and its lows so far, not really giving us that stellar performance that we wanted to see if it was going to avoid having divergences. So what did we talk about there in the previous show? We talked about how we're coming in for highs. This price is, if we push up towards the, or actually, what am I saying here? On the 4-hour time frame, it was looking at this point and saying if we were coming up towards this $7 price point, then we were looking at, we were probably going to be putting in some bearish divergence. So what I needed to see the prices doing was actually taking out 750, 745 was the minimum target for that, 750 if we wanted to see the prices push on up the way, or else what we were looking at is the bearish divergence probably dragging the prices on down, then subsequently coming back in for another retest as we've seen happening here on the 50 simple period moving average on the 4-hour time frame. Now we've not got increased lows overall, so it's not like we're getting a big chunk of hidden bullish divergence to come in here. We did have hidden bullish divergence previously before that rise up the way, which gave us maybe that premature move towards the top side, resulting in that bearish divergence we've subsequently seen having been put up there. How about we just kind of chalk it down to experience and wait for the confirmation to tell us, will this actually reject? I'm looking for this to reject and for us to get to continue to go up the way. No chance of a cross. That's what I want to see, and this to stay in at the very worst, you know, this setup that it has right now, and then of course just blow off towards the top side. Looking at it in the higher time frames, we do have that positive trend, 24-hour time frame, telling us that, you know, we're very much strong here. Want to see that strength continue, so I want something to come in and prevent us from dropping down and having to retest these lower areas on the 24-hour time frame. Bringing back on the drawings then, and bearing in mind that the key area for us is this orange zone, looking between $6 and $5. So what we actually spoke about was if we pushed up the way, then we would have a retracement down to look towards where the 236 is on Tezos, and see it came in at the 622 area, and that's precisely what happened. The key zone for us to be saying above this orange box, precisely again what's ultimately happened here for us, and it looks overall in a really beautiful position if it wants to continue up the way. Now there's an inherent risk here. There's risk, you know, we know that you're buying a risk at this point. This is the risk. I'm not a financial advisor, by the way. None of this financial advice is always to do your own and all that, but what we're looking at is this got the ability to do its shallowest retrace? If it does need to push on down the way, well then we're looking down, is it going potential for it to go down another 10% almost. So that's where we're at with this one. And could we push on up? Well, if we actually just, you know, take this on the chin, this most recent pullback, we've not done enough to register and lock it in as being properly negative quite yet. So all this would be is flux along the way, creating this into an overall upward thrust journey. Still got that 745 target overall for us, dropping down the 4-hour time frame, seeing that of course the bearish divergence is very much in play there. Going to be managing my risk in it around about that orange box zone, 50 simple period moving average on the 4-hour time frame. So we're positioned in a way in terms of Tezos to be able to go towards the top side if we see a turnaround now. Easy enough to manage risk in terms of risk to reward with these zones overall. Looking at the these potential zones and saying, well, pushing down past that's not very good, but if we can get up towards these higher targets, maybe we've got a decent enough trade on for us. Again, the question lies with you guys as well. If you want to tell me how to put on a trade with regards to this Binance account we set up, it's got $50 in it. So I guess the USDT price is down a cent at the minute, so at $50, be putting in a trade. The live show, they're going to let me know. If you're watching this after the fact, comment down below, comment your comments in the comments, and then let me know what you'd have wanted to have seen in terms of a trade on this one, right? But this is what we're hoping for. If we see it popping down the way, where's our next higher low coming in at? Well, it's going to be down at one of those lower zones down there between these zones overall. 618 golden pocket lining up with our previous low overall, so it's going to be a case of managing risk accordingly. How do you want to do it? There's definitely some really great risk to reward trades on here if we're able to choose an area which works best for us in terms of what would be a decent trade on this one. Let me know your comments in the comments below. So that's that one. But will we see, so there's a similar sort of story for us with regards to Chainlink. Just looking at this overall in terms of the movements recently, by the way, drawing the contrast between them, seeing highs and higher highs, but movement up the way with regards to Tezos versus USDT. With regards to Link versus USDT, seeing high, lower high, moving up the way in terms of the demand coming in here and keeping us going up the way, but that diminishing high overall here, not the most ideal scenario to have played out so far with regards to the movement that we had up. But of course, we knew about the 34 price point as being something to be bearing in mind, and well, we've taken profit in there and come back down to the 50 simple again. Is this just the volatility that we've got on the go here? Yes. Checking in with our strength of trend indicator, you can see that it's been living in this, it's been living this life. It was, you know, Coolio sing it, you know, gangster's paradise, but this is a volatility paradise here for us here, and we've been living that with these highs pushing up the way. What we can then look towards is diagnosing the current trajectory. We can see these lows giving us a far better sniff of the trail overall, and really this zone in here giving us the most key aspect for us being able to make a break and move. This is a beautiful looking potential setup chart for us, I think, overall in terms of the bullishness there. Okay, so just to kind of draw in this line for us here, or the sort of the narrative, just to kind of reiterate everything I was just saying there, is that this is a really overall wonderful potential setup if we can see any failure to conduct a breakout below this line. Now there's various different narratives that you can put on. If you want to put a pattern analysis one on, you'd be talking about the head and shoulders idea here, that we'd be breaking below that territory. Okay, that's just like, there's a million different ways that you could talk about this. In terms of the negative scenario, there's going to be zones where we can pick ourselves up and try again very, very, very happily, each of which are actually continuing on with the overall upward scenario. So very lovely times. Shout out to Northwest Nerd, for example, who loves to do CA into this thing. But can we actually get the move in this zone? Can we get it? Well, looking at this area just here, we would confirm a failure of this Quasimodo head and shoulders, and we could potentially push up the way. We want to leave the story of the volatility in the past and find a turnaround on the stochastics here at the neutral line, given us this potential to actually get the motivation, the momentum to carry on up the way and look towards our higher targets. And actually, things really start to get interesting at $41 on this one, and managing your risk is a simple case of kind of looking at towards the upper side sloping line and saying, I don't want to carry any risk down the way past 31 on this. So again, then, to put the question back to all of you as well, watching along with the live show, what sort of trade are you looking at? If you want to get a 3-to-1 trade here, you know, you're getting risk to reward carrying you all the way down to the $27 area on this one, and you can buy in at any of these sorts of prices up towards the top. I'm not a financial advisor, not as financial advice. I'm waiting for you to financially advise me. We've looked at certain key areas. We know that we could wait, we could trade like by waiting for confirmation up there. We could be aggressive and also but patient at the same time, waiting for us to come down for lows to buy off the back of. You can be sort of blasé and have to then stomach the risk to reward, of course, not being able to benefit from sort of 5-to-1 type bit scenarios, etc. Let me know. Oh, cool, somebody just subscribed. Awesome, thank you so much for that. That's great. That's quality. So, right. So that's what we're looking at with these. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I'm going to check in with the chat here in just a second. So that's the scenarios. Let me know in the comments down below what you're looking at with regards to Chainlink and Tezos, what you're looking at with regards to alt season, why these two coins, for example, are not keeping up with some of the big riders today. And let me know your thoughts, and check out the other videos and come in for a live stream sometime. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Right, so let's go with this. Let's give it a shot, right? Let's see if we can get something here. So if I stick this in like that and just delete where you say dot and put a dot in, right? So, and then we're going to change that with a slash. Excellent. Slash, there we go. Then we're changing this one with a slash. I feel like we're making progress here, ladies and gents. We've cracked the code. Let's do it. And it's loading up. So here we have it. We're on this thing. Right, great, nice one. By the way, what this is called feta. It's everybody's new favorite type of cheese. It's actually, no, it's a cryptocurrency. And we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on this one. So I'll just close that thing from Brave. It says there's a new version of this. Let's go with a new one, eh? Let's embrace change on this one. Come on then, dex.guru. This is where we're looking at this one. This one's called feta. The ticker on it is FETA, and at the minute what we've got up is, of course, versus BSC, right? So that's Binance Smart Chain that is against at the minute. And well, you can see here that there's an overall the volatility in this thing is great. Great opportunities for trade in this one. I'd recommend everybody be very, 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 very careful with exchanges, etc., that you don't know anything about. So I do not endorse this personally. This is just taking a look at this because we're doing a live stream, got chat about it down below. So this is not a personal financial advice endorsement or anything. But I'm looking at this chart here based off of a couple of things. We can see that if I just take out the old horizontal line tool and pop it on right where the price is, really you can see we had previous highs coming in there, then of course lows again, and lows currently right now. What a great potential then for a risk management trade. Let's take, for a quick way to get access to the inside story on this one, a look at the Fibonacci retracements, bringing in from the high up here down to the low over here and saying where our key zones really are for us in this play at the minute. And we can see that that while the prices are in this territory, this is our higher risk zone, and that is between the price point of 5 cents, so 5.8 cents, 0.058, oh no, BSC, sorry, not cents, 0.058 down to 0.043, a fairly extensive range in terms of percentage. But once those zones are taken out, we see that up the way the price action has responded super well to the key Fibonacci areas up above. All of these giving you profit taking targets such as, you know, 0.086, 0.077, 0.068, for example, all of those in recent past. So I just pop this back over to the left again and then say, well, how can we in this area here decide where a decent price point would be for perhaps taking profit, etc. Now we already have a horizontal line on there going running left to right here between these lows. Taking a look at the highs here and drawing down and connecting this up. This is a fairly likely scenario what we're looking to have to define the range in this area. And I'll draw the Fibonacci tool back over again so you can see where we'd be looking to, I guess, if you like, across a period of time on this coin. And over the next wee while, I'm looking if we can get a bounce at this area for a great big swell up towards the 50. I'm going to just say, instead of, by the way, for brevity, 0.058, I'll say 58. Okay, so I'll just make it like that. So at the minute this is 0.042. I'm going to say 42. So if we see a bounce at 42, we're looking up towards 58, 59 in fact. But just to not be too greedy in that, I'd be taking profit just maybe around about 57. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, none is financial advice, but that's already a 30% move. You've cashed in that into your wallet, and then you're looking up and saying the greediest area to look to in terms of this most recent retrace is looking up at this zone just here. We see the intersection between the 382 and the downward sloping resistance line, and that comes in at the 13th of April at around about 8 p.m. perhaps as well, if you're looking for a time on it. But we're saying around about 70. But then again, not wanting to be greedy, wanting to take profit in this area, then kind of saying, well, let's not be too greedy and take profit just below at about 67. Again, you know, overall, whatever you had left in your trade, looking at being up 60% at that point. But why am I drawing in my concerns here at this degree? Well, let me just draw on a horizontal just to remind you of a couple of key areas for us before I remove that Fibonacci here. Sorry, a horizontal line here for us. Just before I remove the Fibonacci, pop one in just here at that 382 and pop another one in at the 50% and another one at the 618. Now, these are the key areas to be looking to in terms of your three greedy profit taking targets. And if we do then break this area at this price point, 98, I'm actually looking for a fruition and a follow through of a measured move off the back of this pattern. So let me just draw it all out for us and then say where we'd be looking to. So there's your measured move, and it takes you all the way up towards that price point there with another horizontal line. But we need to acknowledge that actually at around about 60% into this move here, you're going to be looking towards taking profit, and that'll be represented by this sort of liquidity zone that will exist between our previous highs and of course this sort of range in about the 123 area up above. Okay, so that would be 123 at that point, 0.123 in that zone. So that would be where you'd be looking for, and then of course the ultra greedies looking all the way up towards 14. But what we're seeing here as well then is that these are the key areas marked out nicely for us, and I'll remove that Fibonacci from the background, and we're left with all that drawn in, all easy to see where you're looking for. And then what you can say is then in fact between the high that we just had and the one that we're currently experiencing, that the 50% actually comes in where that 382 was before, and this will then potentially continue down the way if we're looking for the tightening within this range before, you know, potentially cracking out. So if we're looking to trade the range, that's what we're looking to. Risk management becomes very easy as well because we're of course aware of these zones. And I want to point out the fact that there is this overall potential kind of range here to be breaking into if we did actually carry the price action outside of this for a downward move, which didn't break the overall trend. Because this is very, very new. It's only existed for a very short period of time, and this of course is a very small time frame, looking at the hourly time frame. So if we kind of pushed outside of this zone, front ran it at the minute, you know, we could be looking down to sort of the 0.01 zone. You know, that would be your danger. Okay, so thanks for that. That was a bit interesting, but I'm positive on this one. I am aware of the fact that it's come down to key support area, and what I'm really telling people here, and I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, but to manage your risk in this zone is of course somewhat of a easy experience really, because if you see this move, for instance here, you're looking at 3 to 1, for instance. If you're looking at going up towards that target for 3 to 1 easily with a risk reward which carries you deep into where you'd be saying that you'd have made a mistake, you know, you'd be hoping for the prices to turn around at these price points, or else of course you could be looking at further sort of slippage. We're seeing that the overall movement at the minute has pushed outside the Bollinger Band in this zone on this 1 hour time frame. This would be the ideal time for this to do just early days sort of manipulation on the price point. Not a negative scenario here. I'm just saying that the prices can be manipulated by larger accounts to essentially distribute in this zone. If they want to distribute again at a higher price, they're absolutely able to. They can then come in for a higher low to accumulate in this area before moving up, if they want to do this from a classical charting point of view. Mike Piani says, I was doing T on this token. I've had similar analysis. I've largely learned from your videos. It's amazing to see it match up. Thank you for your analysis and on this and all of your content. Well, that's just totally really lovely of you to say, so I really appreciate that. I'm glad that we were able to bust through to the end and get some sort of conclusions on that one. Overall, guys and dolls, then, so far in the analysis, have you got any idea about which one we would like to stick that $50 into and where we would put in our ideas? I will be somebody out there who makes the decision on this account. Of course, I will be taking direction on it. I want to sort of flip the concept that you see other people doing on YouTube. We're flipping that, and it's you guys are doing it. So we're doing some TA. Yous are going to be able to benefit from it. Is there any coin that you're looking at in particular that you want to be analyzed so that you can suggest it? It has to be traded on Binance, and ideally versus the USDT pair, so that we can analyze it with a view to spending the $50 that we've got in our account. So that's what we're doing on the channel right now. If you're just joining me for this show, what we're going to do is take a look at Uni versus USDT and ask, is it a candidate for us to want to invest in? Are there any warning signs for us right now? And to celebrate the fact that it has, of course, come up to 36 and taken out its previous highs. Let's do the TA on this one and see if there's anything for us to learn, and I'll just run these intro clips. If you are just watching this right now, please go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the channel out, you know, an immense amount, so I appreciate it when it does that. This, of course, is a live stream as well, so join me for one of them by hitting the subscribe button, the bell, all that, so that you know to come back and jump in. We've done some interactive TA so far in the show. It's been good interacting with the audience, and what we're actually looking at the minute is what we would like to spend if we had $50 in a Binance account to spend. So actually we're going to do that for fun, and I've got a $50 Binance account just here waiting to be dispensed. Wow. And fun, you know, it is of course a small starting amount here, but we're also, you know, going to build up this fund. You can donate to it if you want me to put in, you know, to add your particular bag to the bags, if you like, as well. It's a bit of fun here. So, Alex Harris is asking about Litecoin now. So we'll do Litecoin in a second as well. Maybe we'll combine it with the uni analysis, in fact, right? Maybe we will. Okay. But we're doing uni just now. The prices have moved towards the top side, done really fantastically well, coming up towards that 37 area. As you can see, the highs are 38 area. The highs have been as high as 37.78 today, and that really means for us is that when we cast our eye back the way that we've of course cast off any sort of hint of divergences in that recent price action where we were running towards the top side and experiencing divergences all along the way. Now we have, of course, got the comparison point to be made between the previous big high over here, and that is more visible on the 24-hour time frame, and we can see then there is this downward sloping area for us to be aware of. Well, we've had the prices going towards the top side. Are we then due another pullback? Is this just all healthy and wealthy within the trend at the minute? Well, you know, I don't want to get too carried away with this one, but I would say that yeah, we can see a pullback. I just want us to be able to push towards, to see this price point, this price action push on up the way. Taking it off of linear and putting it onto logarithmic, you can see that you can see on linear, you know, we've pushed all the way up here, suffered a big pullback, and now we're back at our previous highs overall. On logarithmic, you know, it has the same aspect to it, but I feel it draws our eye to the fact that we've come up so far, spent a good degree of time consolidating in this, having had significant enough percentage moves compared to the overall trend that took us up here in terms of what we were liable to see on a daily time frame. And we've seen this happen just now in this area. Again, another big candle up the way, and we've come up towards a significant area. I really do think that there is the potential for this to have a ascending triangle aspect to it. For us to push past 37 and close out the way could mean that it would be prudent to just get in on the trend there and say that there's a potential to carry this on up the way of a target of about $50, and it would be wise, you know, to take part in that. I'm not financial advisor, none of this financial advice, but I'm hesitant to get too crazy involved in a big trade until we've got confirmation one side or the other, because if we do pull down the way, then I'm looking to see $29 as my best buy price. I'm going to be managing this with the expectation that if it does actually continue to crack below that area, then what it's doing is it's coming in here and really challenging us for the move, you know, the negative move down, the pattern down the way, and that would carry prices all the way down to $12, and I'll not be riding that negativity all that way if that were to happen. So overall, overall in terms of like what I would love to see happen. Now, bear in mind, actually, you know, I'm not pushing my own book here or whatever. I'm just kind of analyzing this with a view to what you think we should do. But what do you think? You know, would we be wanting to wait? What do you want to do? Prudence would suggest that we wait for the prices to come back down to previous areas to retest and range with where we are. Caution would say that we wait for good volume. We've got a bit of good volume, so like expediency, if you like, or aggression would say that we're actually experiencing that volume now. This is the move where we've tested the 50 simple for so long, over so many days. Now we've finally moved away from it. This is any sort of decent pullback here is going to be our best entry up the way, and then ask the question then in that sense, what do you think is the best one? And out of the options, what are the most obvious options for us if there's going to be one? Well, there's obviously the zero case option, you know, where you just buy it where it is right now. There's also the bullish case scenario of buying it at $34.55 and saying, well, a nice 236 retrace here would test our previous highs, take us back into the zone overall here where we can kind of range if we are, you know, build our rocket fuel up, because in reality the ascending triangle is this overall zone that we're currently experiencing, and that's maybe the best price. Or maybe you're saying, no, we're going to experience a full 618 Fibonacci retracement here because the volatility is going to live on, and we will see something like a bounce, for example, over here on the Bitcoin dominance chart at some point. Perhaps if that's your perspective, let me know your perspective. And would you expect to see some sort of bounce here, experience a big pullback over elsewhere, or have we finally cracked it for just now? So I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to drop that out there and make it everything. Okay, cool. So excellent. Right, we've done that one. I've not needed to mix it up with Litecoin. I think that was a good laugh doing it that way. Petro Pellegrino live stream views is Moon. Woo! Okay, excellent. Nice one. Everybody who hasn't hit like already, I'd appreciate it if you did, but I can see that people have been hitting like, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thanks for joining us for the show. So let's try and get Alex's information is information button itched. Alex, no, we're searching for Alex coin, we're searching for Litecoin to the US dollar coin, bringing this up. Lovely, excellent, continued move. Still looking for our $300 target. Have we got to the point where we're able to challenge this and say, are we breaking it up the way? Yes, we are. I'll just say hi, everybody, by the way. Thanks for joining me for this show. If you are just joining me, we're taking a look at Litecoin just now. Litecoin versus USDT. But we're going to ask the questions, you know, why are the prices retracing from where they are just now on Litecoin? Will we see the Litecoin prices actually manage to break its resistance and carry on up the way? In which case, where's our target towards the top side? Where you'd be taking profit at? What are we hoping to see the Litecoin prices achieve over the next wee while? Where's the next best risk management zones for us? Where would we have a big inflection in price, offering up, you know, that biggest potential for a discounted buy price? Not guaranteed, of course, but you know, if we were looking for discounts, where would that be? All of that and more covered in this episode right now. Bang. In fact, here's some intro clips just so you can see my name come up on screen, hear my music. Doodaloo, it's good stuff, isn't it? Great time for you to hit the like button. Right, okay, popping back in. By the way, this is filmed during a live show. Be sure to join me for the live show. Hey Randy, thanks for hitting like, for example. You know, right. So first off, why is the Litecoin price retraced? Litecoin price was $260, and now it's $240. We're seeing that, you know, that's the guts of a 10% movement down the way from its highs. Even though these candles are pretty dinky, that's 7%, that's 8% there, just there on the screen. You know, wow. It doesn't take many big candles to get this thing to really show you some damage to your position if you're long. So why is the prices retraced right now from its highs of $260 down to these lows at $240? Well, Litecoin has been at an area where it's actually, you know, really done well to have got to in the first place, and profit taking has then ensued as a result of that. And it makes a lot of sense because it was past their previous high. So we've managed to actually achieve there by closing up at the 260 price point was a higher high, and that's fantastic. So it's actually a really positive story in the face of that negative decline. Now, this higher high that's come in so far has come in with the potential for us to be diagnosing it as saying this is divergent here, as we can see, between previous highs and our most recent high. But looking in between, is this period there around the 12th to 14th of March, is this lower high enough for us to say that this was, that this most recent stretch is not divergent, or are we needing to cover, or we need to test against this previous one? Well, I think we need to test against this previous one, and yes, there's that bearish divergence, and it's within this pattern overall. But we could also be looking at this and asking, hold on a second here, have we got this beautiful W effect on the go here, where we've got, if you were to flip reverse this, the idea of a sort of Adam and Eve, if you like, but as a reversal potential? Have we got this this continuation, sorry, not reversal, but continuation potential for us off the back of this? Do we have that? Could it keep going? And well, frankly, it could, right? It absolutely could. And that's and this would be a case of us continuing on the prior trend. It'd be a case of us having had tested all of our moving averages that we really needed to on the daily time frame, and that would be good to see too. It'd be a case of, for example, the Bitcoin dominance chart just dropping right the way down the way. For instance, it would be a case of, if I can go back to the previous chart there for us, it would be also a case of, for example, us doing well versus Bitcoin too. Could we be looking at Litecoin being one of the founding fathers of alt season in earnest? Because a lot of these coins have had a tough time. And we've had these patterns on the go in the past, whatever, and they've played out. But overall, it just keeps on evolving into more and more and more of the downside, with us finally coming up again and testing the 200 and being right at it at this point while we've pulled back. Could we actually see a turnaround? Well, it could happen, and we've had bullish divergence on the go here on this pairing for us to see. We've got there is, of course, as well the hidden bearish divergence at the same time. But in terms of the DMI, we've really just kind of for the first time in a very long time gotten a bit of a change here versus Bitcoin. So this is all happening for us right in this zone. So is it possible for us to see it kind of continue across the board for us with Litecoin? Well, I'd say that it potentially is. So let's go back to the Litecoin USDT chart then, therefore, and analyze this. Now, we know that there's the negative case scenario, so we kind of explained that anyway with regards to this movement with the wedge. And of course, any sort of discussion with regards to Adam and Eve could be made here with saying Adam, Eve, potentially a second Eve. It really, you can make as many pattern claims as you like on this thing, because what we're seeing here is the diminishing volume in this period of time while we were at our $250 highs, and now we've broken past them. So jumping up towards the weekly time frame and looking back, what it says is that we broke past this previous inflection point, and this is our all-time highs up there at the $300 area. We dropped down, and when we rose back up again after the huge drop down, this is, you may not have traded this yourself, but this was a 71% drop down in the price action. And then, of course, they saw the prices need to rise all the way up 139% to get to that price, and then fail, and of course the downward trend to ensue. So where are we right now? Really, we're in this period where we're seeing that it's getting a bit tentative, a bit prudent, a bit cautious in terms of where we are right here. Are we able to push past? And historically, that's because, of course, we're in this real key area. If we push up, where does it take us to? All-time highs. That's the measured move. Putting it into the context, can we go to all-time highs? Yes. Then what happens with this coin? It suddenly becomes a very, very, very interesting coin to wrap back around again and go to that Bitcoin scenario for us, and say, hey, that was the second best buy you could have possibly ever got. This is actually the best buy here, recently on the 22nd of March. If we crack that, then it changes overall. If we have an upward trend here versus Bitcoin, then wow, there's just so much room to go, and it makes scenarios like a downward sloping Bitcoin dominance chart in the face of upward rising potential continuation price action up towards the top side for Bitcoin itself, then means fantastic things overall. So that would be nice if that was the case. Now that's the most positive bullish case. Remember, we know the range. That's the range to trade. Dropping down below that, look out for fake out zone. Then you can catch a short if you even want to. There, we did talk about it, but there we go. I sold at £188 when would be a good time to buy. Alex, man, you want me to take a look at it in GBP as well? Sorry, mate. I finished the Litecoin section. We're having to move on. Sorry, Alex, man. It's like, have to move on. There's so many other things I could be talking about right now, but we've done that one. Let's take a look at Anchor, right? I'm going to follow up with Anchor, and I maybe do a quick look at OMG. Then I'm going to sign out. Why would I want to look at OMG? Well, because people think sometimes that their analysts just come along and then say some positive stuff and then leave them fly-by-night characters and, oh, I'll not do that to you, OMG. Not right away. Of course, nobody's asked for me to do. I don't think so. Cool, nice one. Well, actually, that's obviously on the higher time frame. Let me just drop down towards the lower time frame. Anchor, we spoke about this in the past. Said this is the sort of the bull flag that we've got on the go. Have we actually got to the point where we're able to break this and move up the way? So Anchor technical analysis coming at you with me, your friend Rocky Outcrop. A like and a subscribe goes an awfully long way. Let me just run the intro clips real quick. It gives me a second to hit a stream marker so I can come back and make a clip of this later, and it gives you a second to hit that like button. So, you know, great one. Join me for a live stream. If you hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. Come back, we can chat about price action live, get all your questions answered. What are we seeing here? Like, what worrying thing? Not huge volume, but it's definitely better than that. You know, it's the previous 2 days volume combined into one. I want to see that actually get follow through. Looking for follow through on the volume, guys. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Follow through on the volume. What we're seeing here is, of course, challenging the upward movement and the potential to break out of that bullish, that bull flag that we were talking about. But we're not, you know, it's not fully happened yet. We're just in the modes for it, but we're in the mood for it. Sorry, we're just nearby. These types of volume candles, they carry the price on up the way. We've got a few good targets, and now that the prices have dropped down a bit lower, just being really super conservative with their targets, right? Super conservative here. And I know this is going to sound crazy because I've said super conservative a couple of times. By the way, not financial advisor, not financial advice, but we're super conservative target here is that we're looking up towards 31 cents. So carrying that from where we are up to that top side, you're looking at 100% price movement up the way potential for us just in this next phase of price action. 31 cents. Is it possible? Well, a couple of things that lead me to believe that it is possible are that we've got all the moving averages saying great, looking good. Bull flag scenario having played out for a wee while, giving us enough time to put in a bit of hidden bullish divergence. Oh, that's pretty good as well. And in terms of some oscillators down below, we've got the turnaround on the stochastics, bang over here, looking to the past previous area where we turned around at, and this was over here, big movement up thereafter. We've done that now. You know, we had a sideways period just here. It was before, sideways here, moving up the way. That's not me drawing in a fractal, that's just me describing the stochastics really visually to you, and that's what we're seeing. So we've moved up a bit now. So have we actually got the potential to carry up the way? Well, the ADX has of course pushed up to these historical, massively historical highs areas for us. There is the potential to continue on the way. Now, not to get too sort of blindsided by anything, let's not get too massively extremely carried away with things. We need to bear in mind that if we look between this low and our previous high up the way, that there is of course this clear point to be made with regards to the 236, which we're just going through today at that 15.5 area. So we're at 16 at a minute, looking for 15 to be maintained, for us to take the structure of going past this, you know, resistance line into that zone, which is considered fake out zone, take out our previous highs, and then of course job is looking like it is on towards the top side thereafter. Just trying to fiddle around and get that Fibonacci to line up properly. It doesn't really matter. That's cool. That's the Anchor section done. How are you looking at Anchor? Are you trading this at the minute? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you think we should add it to the fund and coming on over to the show. Donate to the channel sometime as well. If you want to donate to the fund, you can do that as well. And what we'll do is we'll try and build up a portfolio of coins that people are interested in. What do you think is the best move for us at the minute? And I suppose since I've done this on other chunks of the show today, what we're looking at here is saying that if we take take out our previous wick down there at the sort of 11.8. Not looking great for a position towards the top side though. If we do move up towards that 30 area, then it's easy to get a 3.5 to 1 where you encompass all of that risk just buying it right now. Now, do I want to do that? Not massively, but like, because in terms of the risk reward, it's not fantastic. If you're looking at just coming in for a retest and saying that if we break down below the wick of today, even, or the low of today or the last few days, and break that 21, then suddenly you're looking at an 8 to 1 trade for the top side. So you're looking at decent stuff here with an easy enough risk to reward profile and easy enough to manage. Is it something you're interested in? Let us know in the comments below. At Rocky, OXT deposit address, I'll add to the bag. Maybe set a target sell. Cool, right? Cool, nice one. Drew, you're buying into the idea. So like that, I think as well. Let us know if you've got like I'll have to do a little section where we kind of discuss ideas for this $50 here. But let's just do it. What did you say it was again there? OXT. So let's see. I'm hoping that Binance has got it. I'm not 100% sure that they do. Yes, they do indeed. Orchid. Ah, that's the Orchid ticker, is it? Sorry. Yeah, I forgot that one. Oh, copy. Right, so that's cool. So I think it's got fairly quick transaction times and all the rest of it. So let's just bring up the Orchid chart then in the meantime while that's going on. That's cool, isn't it? So we'll have a position. Effectively, we are long, right? That's what we'll call it, Drew. We'll say that we're long on Orchid at the minute, like OXT. Let's see then USDT if there's something to be learned here, carrying on our bullish bias that we've had throughout the show today on everything that we've looked at so far to this one. And it's not a surprise that this is also a fairly strong performer then. That somebody's, that Drew, for instance, and he's smart, so he's interested in this one, and we can see that it's obviously performed really, really quite well. So cool. We've got this upward sloping kind of general area. I'm just going to pop this in, like do it sort of Reiki style, if you like, a million miles away from the actual price action, just so we can get the general concepts that we're looking at. So this is the overall tightening structure towards the top side. We've got the general concept of the divergences on the go here. So we've got divergences here as well. We've got this is a daily time frame. We've got the stochastics currently pointing down the way. If I can just extend this up, yeah, they're currently pointing down the way. We've not like crossed over yet. So what we're looking to see is, can we have an end to the most recent downward flow of price action and continue on the upward one in the face of larger time frame divergence, or will we potentially suffer and have to pull back a little bit further and go in for one of these lows that we've had? Is this enough? So are we tightening up enough here to give us that idea? So do we have a flat bottom along this zone just here? We have got a bit of one. It's just this, it's really just that distinct line, yeah, where we could have this kind of positioned here for us, and the 200 simples lining up and around about that general zone as well. So that would be our best area. Let's try and not take that out. So in a sort of long position, so in terms of this, just if this was your risk, saying I don't want to take out my previous low, where would an easy profit taking target come in at? Well, in a 5 to 1 trade from around about this zone here, then you'd be looking up towards that. But we want to look bigger and broader and wider than all of that. This is just a potential area for us to come and get in terms of if you're trading this in the short term. Everybody out there who's looking at Orchid OXT price action, that's what we're discussing right now. Should probably have a stream marker so I can make it. Anyway, cool. This is the overall up. No, not to that high. What am I thinking? Blindsided myself there a wee second. Up towards this area is the kind of the broader term view sort of things, looking at pretty decent risk to reward opportunity for us on this one up there. So that's decent. What do we make of that in terms of percentages, by the way? That would be a 50% potential increase. So that's a decent 50%. I mean, decent, right? Crypto just makes you greedy, like by default at times, doesn't it? 50% increase in price is obviously extremely ludicrously rewarding. Never mind decent. So that's what we have on the cards for us. However, I would say that would be to take profit there, right? What we seeing is that we've got wicks on these things. Like when it comes up to its high, it wicks back down like 10%, and then that's it. Kind of another 10% just there. I'm just going to measuring this type of thing out. That had a wick of 20% there. Just saying in terms of the volatility and its dynamics that we're looking at is that when we got to our high, it can easily drop 20% thereafter, and then perhaps range a little bit, giving you time to think. If you'd sold at that point or anywhere in that wick, you'd have had time to think, oh, do I want to get in or out, etc. So we're seeing that happening. So that's two things at once. If the prices come up towards some sort of target that we had in mind, and then and they got up towards that area, and then they just suddenly dropped off 10%, and you're already in profit, because you'd be in what sort of profit? You might be in 25% profit. You were in 30, you drop back down to 20. Easy enough to take your profit if you're trading this like hands on. Easy enough to just take it and say, well, you fool me once, right? But you fool me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So that would be your targets up there. That would be a decent enough one to look to. So just anywhere in it around about, just putting in a slightly higher high there, and that would be one. Oh wait, how high was this? It was a round number anyway, $1.05, and that was 92.15. Okay, cool. So this is a slightly different dynamic, going past the psychological area as well on that. So yeah, I mean, could we even go even higher? It's so greedy, Can we go for 100% returns on this? Is it possible to get up towards 14 on this thing here, realistically? Even though this is a negative, even though this is a bearish pattern, right? That's clear. Okay. I was talking about doing spot trades and all the rest of it, and I'm not going to manage it. I ain't selling it lower than it is now, essentially, Drew. In terms of the account, in terms of you managing your trading and everything else, I think this idea makes sense, right? In terms of, would we take profit on it on the account? I think I take 50% profit perhaps at that 11111, just all the ones, maybe 110 or 109 or so. If the prices did come up, like I was kind of intimating before, to an area that was high up, for instance, our previous highs, and then drop down 10%, I'd probably just be like, at that stage, managing it. You could easily manage it with just kind of, stops, saying roughly, where you're just happy to just say, like, that's that, I'll take profit at it. Maybe stop limit, for example. And yeah, and just continue on up the way. That's what I'm looking for in this one. Bearish divergence, easily could have a pullback. If it did pull back, then what am I looking for? Well, fake out territories is already sort of identified, and then the highs are coming in here and showing us that this lines up then perfectly with this Fibonacci, right? So what we're talking about is that if we traded it in around about this zone, that we're saying that we break this Fibonacci, we're happy to relinquish trades because we know it could go down as low as 36. That's a 50% drop off in price from where we are now in terms of the overall price. In terms of the retracement against the upward trend, it's a 68% drop off, and that's possible. Okay. That's possible. So this would be our current trade on this one, I think, right? How does that sound? Is that good enough for this one? I think we're kind of done with this section. Let me know what you think though, Drew. Staken Zayton says, can you please check Nano? What do you think about Nano? Drew's Tech looks good, Rocky. If it were me, take profit at 8%, 24%, and then 40%. In terms of just coming in like from sort of take profit at around about, just where we had our previous body close high, so we've our previous close, then take profit at like around about 24% up, looking at around about this zone where we had where we're talking like high 90s, and we were like really up there at that point, and then of course, or whatever, and then 40% on up to where that is. I think that sounds like a pretty decent plan. Obviously this is sort of like Etch-a-Sketch. We kind of like draw it out roughly and say, this is what we're looking at, and for the sort of the outright noob that's just joining us here, don't be overwhelmed by that, and don't then also wonder, what's what's the exact price. I'm saying I'm bullish on this one. I'm saying that we're seeing negative price action. I'm saying that there's opportunities to get in here and that you'll be managing your risk and around about these zones, and how you choose to do it is up to yourself. But this is the general idea, you know. I personally would have preferred, and this is the first time I've looked at this coin in like months at the minute, you know, today. So I would have preferred to have been kind of thinking about this in advance with regards to 236. Maybe when we cracked, no, we just put that in and we came back down and retested it here, moved up the way. I mean, that would have been a better entry at 10% down from where we are just now. And that would have been a decent enough one. If I was into this, I might have done that. But then could we come back down to the 21 EMA? Yeah, we could. So I guess I'd go at like 74, 74, 75. So something like that, shout out to the Connells, would be the best one. And of course, if it rides on up the way afterwards, well, then we already know that what we're talking about here in terms of percentage moves is huge. So if you want to catch a scalp of something that gets you a 10% ride, you know, you could get you could ride at 7%, etc. Anyway, Rocky and Drew, how do you manage how much profits you take from those percentages? It depends. It depends. Like quite a lot of the time, it'll be managed based off of like how you felt recently, you know, and whatever else, or how volatile or shaky the market is. You see the big old wicks on here. You know, you could take, you could do it in like thirds, maybe if you did it like that. You know, you could take a third at a very, you know, 8% is huge, but just in terms of the overall what we're looking at, it's not. So you could take 30% at 8%, 30% at, you know, like that type of thing. It doesn't matter too much. You know, there isn't any wrong, and we don't profit shame on the channel. There isn't any wrong way to do it. People, for example, through an objective or outside source, people like Eric Crown likes to take half his profit at the first target, the previous you know, the first target. This one here, the wick is so huge. Just jump into any other coin though, you'd be saying that from this low here, the way Eric Crown would have traded this, likely, I don't know because I wasn't speaking to him about it, etc. And I'm not going to, you know, say anything particular about it. Just that he would have been happy enough taking profit here at this 10% move for half of his position. Easily would have happily have taken profit there at the previous highs, just in that for half of his position, you know, regardless. Like now, I don't know what he did to trade it or where he's done any of this, anything around any of these zones, but if you said to him, is that something that you would or wouldn't do? He'd say, yeah, I'd do that. So like just an example, and that's the same with like tons and tons of traders out there. And so you could do half and half. Now then loads of other people just want to put it like on the nose, like play it the full way and do whatever. And some people like John Bollinger, right? So a guy that's like YouTube famous, I guess, and then Bollinger, a guy who's like textbook famous, I guess. He is a big proponent of trailing stop losses, right? So it would be that he'd come up to this point here and then take profit on 25%, let it go a bit further, and put the rest of it on with a trailing stop. That's something frequent, I think, that he does. What did that other coin, OMG, you did? And somebody was all like, these YouTubers, they just say stuff, then they abandon us. What did I even say in my previous video? I don't know. It's probably pretty good. Now the prices have moved up decently. I don't see any issue with anything. They've dropped a wee bit. What's the drop? 20%. It's gone up a chunk though. Okay, so when did I do my video? Maybe I only did my video like 4 or 5 days ago. So there is a volatility here. Yep, big potential. We'll bring the drawings back on. Okay, sound. So we only got up to our highs and then we dropped down the way. There's our moving average. There's our previous high. This is the 236. This liquidity zone here's is the obvious zone in the same way that the Tezos one was obvious and around about that zone there. So this here would be your best buy area for it if you're looking for it to get a bounce at the 236 and continue up the way. If you're looking for it to get a bounce at the 21 EMA on the daily time frame and continue up the way, that's your best area. If you're looking to manage risk accordingly because you think it'll get a bounce at the 50 simple or indeed the previous high along the way in this zone of inflection where we had support turned resistance, flipped support potentially again at the 50 simple and around this zone, then it's up to you as to whether or not you'd want to continue your position, holding on to your position for that move, because while it might not look loads on the chart there, that is indeed another 15% downward movement that you could, of course, just give yourself a sort of 15% discount and continue to hold the same amount if that were all to happen, but overall I'm very much bullish on this thing. It's had a cross of the ADX crossing over the DM positive, so like there's the DM's positive is below it and could potentially pull down the way, but then it bounced off the 40 line as it so often does, and then it's a question at this point is, can we actually push on? Pardon me, and it boils down to, well, do we want to have some sort of cup with handle? Have we experienced a cup with handle, and are we on for the full move already? And going in body to body closer style between the low and the high, for example, in this area, if this is what you were thinking about in terms of bodies, in terms of cup with handles, etc., then we've kind of experienced that sort of a move already. If you're looking between this zone and this zone and saying that we could, go for a full move again on up the way afterwards, it kind of gets a little bit ridiculous after a while. But that's all good, because you're looking up towards 18. The target that we have at the minute is actually 14. Is it still possible to get there? Yes, it is. How far have we really suffered? Well, this is our lower zone that we need to be aware of, and that's measurable from with regards to our previous real significant low before the rise up the way, following on from our last high to low move, up to our recent one, puts the 236 right in that at that zone at $8.67. So this isn't a coin which only has volatility in one direction. Looking between that high and low, there's 20% just there. Between the low up to this high, that's 65%. From this low to that high, 65%. Then of course 20% drop down. We've had a 20% drop down now. From this low to this high, you're looking at 60-odd%. Then how much of a drop down at 20%. So could we just go from here? Yes, we could. This is your most aggressive, easily digestible entry price right here, right now. 50 simple play on the 4-hour time frame, dropping down to it, finding support at that area. Can we actually push on up the way and take out our previous highs? If we do, then this isn't going to turn into some sort of reversal pattern. Instead, it could potentially just get continuation, and it wouldn't be a surprise at all to get a move which of this sort of range looking up towards our next high up there, and that's really what we're looking to. So yes, people have had to be patient over the last wee while. Is it still waiting to go boom? Yes, it is. Have we pulled back at a region which makes sense? Yes, well, we had the bearish divergence in there. It did get it. Where have we pulled back to? So far, not as far as the 236. Could it still happen down to there? Yes, it could. And what you're doing at the minute would be your most aggressive positive trade from the negativity that we've had. If you're looking to carry on up the way, and there's various different ways of managing your risk accordingly, then, but you have to think to yourself, what is it that you're willing to take on here? And if you're looking for a 2-to-1 at the minute, then that's kind of your idea with regards to it. But then, you do you, of course, because you could be looking up towards that zone. That's 6-to-1. So if you were to look towards sort of the equivalent risk to reward, then of course, then that's the sort of the equivalent risk to reward in terms coming down as far as the 200 simple, for example. You do you. That's that one. So that's cool. Nice to see you here, Worthy. They just say stuff and abandon us. Did you see that? Did you see that comment? That's what they. I think that's. I don't know if anybody saw it. Made me laugh. Made me laugh. I was like, "Hey, I'm here. I'm reading your comment and talking in this thread to people." I just sold 90% of my portfolio and put everything on one. In the end, I will know if I'm a genius or retarded. Do you mean one as in one? Let's go check out one. ONEUSDT. And what we've seen here with regards to one recently is a big old pullback 4-hour time frame, come down, test the 200 simple, boom, test the 200 simple yet again, come in here at key area of support at the 14 cents region, managing to find that we're keeping our feet dry here, and not having broken anything as yet. Yes, big retracement. I mean, we're talking percentage wise moves down the way, near enough 50% drop off in price. Big chunk down the way. Talking about from our previous lows to our highs, coming in and getting some significant areas taken out. But we're looking pretty nifty here, having stayed above this 14 price point. Now, if we can see the price is breaking 15.5, that's when things start to get interesting. Your first profit taking target is going to be coming in there just shy of 18 cents, where our previous high was. And we're saying to ourselves, well, if this is the downward trend here, we had our bearishly divergent high that came in, and we saw a downward trend to this point down here at the 11 and something cents. Then we actually maybe reversed the trend with our highs that came in at the golden pocket at that point. Then we of course had to come in for a higher low, which was of course our second test of the 200 simple. Could we then continue on afterwards? Well, the next retaking profit area is going to come in at the next area of equilibrium, and that is of course to be found right here at that just shy of 18 area. Let's call it 18 just to be for brevity. Then what we're looking to is actually to continue on up the way, and if 90% of your portfolio is in on this one, what you're looking for is, well, let's just say that if you just did it there now, you're getting in at around about, let's call it 14,444. Then you're looking up towards the next target at 32. Perhaps you'll see your 90% of your portfolio turning into 131% profit there, with the target at 33 being the 1618 against the move from the high to this low where we tested 200 simple twice. Now, a couple of words of warning here for our time frame, showing us we've got the volatility. Gizmo giving us a warning sign. We had it blaring there, pulled down the way, and it's happened again. I'm just kind of wondering about this at this point, how much it's worth putting our stock in this. See, the thing is, we could come up. I feel that it's quite possible that if we do take out these zones again, this 15.5 area, that we actually do retest it thereafter. So my key attention is really going to be to how we manage to cope in amongst these zones where we're at our previous high, and will we manage to do it without putting in divergence here? What we want to do is capitalize on the potential strength of this turnaround area for us with this without it turning into hidden bearish divergence, because as we can see, it's higher than our previous high over in that zone, and this would be then hidden bearish divergence if we take out our previous low. So we don't want that to happen. And what we're saying then is that what we need to do is capitalize on this and say, actually, this is a real strong recovery. So what we need to do is take that out without divergence, right? So we need to take out the 18 area and do it without divergence. And there could be a degree of volatility in this zone as we kind of build up whatever head of steam that we need to do to actually conquer this area yet again. So whether or not it happens super quick or not overall is almost a moot point when you're talking about between hither and thither being 20%. So it's a decent enough move up the way just before you're even properly asking questions about how we'd be conquering that zone, etc. So plenty of trading to be had here. Is it a decent buy at this price? Well, all you can really say is that if this is a downward trend, it came in pretty hard, pretty quick with bullish divergence. We've come in for a higher low so far, having taken out our previous low as part of the previous lower high as part of the downward tail over there with this move, and we've come in for a higher low so far at the two previously identified for other reasons key support areas that we had on the charts right between these two zones, which are now sandwiching these two moving averages. And on the 24-hour time frame, sure, we're miles away. So if we did from other things, we could drop down to 10. That would be your next low as overall, if you're looking at this from a very longer term point of view, what could be like an extended bull flag. But at this point here, I feel like the flagging's done, and that this little hint of a V should be the 24-hour time frame here should be the catalyst, that where we say that this is the most incredible, disgusting hidden bullish divergence I've ever seen in my entire life on almost anything. Look at all that, then bang, and this is after just a relatively short period of time. We've done enough in terms of all the movements, but it's a relatively short period of time to get that 50% in, create this hidden bullish divergence, and then whack-a-mole towards the top side without having haven't taken out any of our moving averages or really broken any structure. It makes it an incredible potential move. And what we're seeing is then that you've got that weak hand, strong hand dynamic with the DMI showing us negative cross right here. So we know that the movement's down the way, but it could, slam the price down, but also we're positioned right there to give us another cross, and a positive cross, and actually see it come into something. So we know that the way that you overcome any of that sort of difficulty is just with simple risk management, sticking on actually just ditching all these drawings real quick for now and sticking on a long position so you can see that if you were to do simple risk management in any of these zones and say that you don't want to take out that previous wick over there and you're looking up towards trying our previous highs again, you're getting an 8-to-1 risk to reward. So take out our previous low, ditch it, go up towards our previous high, then or that zone 8-to-1. So you get to choose whatever you want. Golden pocket, then you're getting 4-to-1. So it's not hard to come up with ideas. If we see movements, obviously that's off the back of us coming back down below 14 again. If we see us coming down below 14 and you're trying it like that type of idea, realistically you're probably more likely to be wanting to trade along these lines. And yeah, there's decent opportunities to be had, but if we go all the way up for the best trade on this coin at the minute, you're still looking at a sort of 8-to-1 easily in terms of just getting in at support and trading off of support and resistance. I don't know if that's the coin that you're talking about, mate, but if it was, then great, there's some TA on it. If it wasn't, then great, there's some TA on it. And you know what? I'm really happy to have had everybody here. So just really let me just check in with everybody. I'm at the end of the show now. I don't think there'll be any more TA unless anybody wants me to take a look at TA specifically for the purposes of answering this question. I've got $50 here in the account. Let me just see as well. Did that OXT thing happen there? That's a good laugh. Check it out. We've got some OXT in here. So let's just go to the markets. No, not the markets. How do we do this again? We're going to advanced. That's what they call it. Advanced trading. No, don't want margin. Go away. Just regular spot. Right. And we're looking at OXT. So where was that OXT? So this is how we do this again. Where was OXT? This is the thing you click on. Gosh, I had to reorientate myself there for a second. OXT USDT, cool. And we were talking about, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was like 14 cents. Does that make sense? Was that 14? No, 10. $1 high. Oh, all the ones. All the ones, and 114 as well. That was a thing. All the ones. That's a big target for us. So that would be one of them. So do we have enough? Do we have enough? By the way, just you're generous. You're so generous to do that. By the way, Drew, for the channel for the fund. So we've got no, we're going to be selling. So if we were to sell it, that would add up to, whoa, that's a big donation, Drew. That's a big donation to the channel, man. That's a big donation to the channel. That's a really appreciated. So we're talking about where we would want to be taking profit on this, and we'll have to come back, and Drew, we'll have to talk about what we'd be doing if we were to have had taken profit on this. But what we wanted to do was choose a couple of areas, and I did that already. Yeah. So we were saying that it would be 1.11111, all the ones. And we were saying that you could take chunks. So I just did this in terms of chunks. There's 25% on as a trade there for that one. And then we thought that there was a target about 8% up or so from where we were, as we spoke about. So you can just kind of see 77 up 8%, which takes us into those mid-80s sort of area. So let's just kind of look at this structurally. Let's see somewhere like 85, right? 85, 84. So that's what we'll call that one. 0.8484 will also take 25% of our profits at that area. And then, so that's 2, and we've done 25%. So that's 50% of that there. And do we have a moonshot target on this one as well? I don't know if it did come out with a moonshot target, but I think that for the purposes of the fund, it's okay to kind of go Moonshot target. So the way that we're coming up with this moonshot target is fairly simple for everybody following along at home. We're going from our all-time highs to our then subsequent lows and saying, where's the 1618? It's not exactly, you know, huge or whatever, but we're going to go for the 1618 and the 2618. So we'll put in a 25% at 181 and 25% in at $7, right? That sort of thing. So we've got a big moonshot on there for us. So that was $7.17, I think it was. So we like to, well, I like to use fun numbers on this thing. So that was 7.19. So if we call it 7.11, so we've got fun numbers, and we go for. Oh wait, no, I did that wrong with that previous one in terms of 25%. That should have been 1875 of them. So I'll just stick in 18 here. Sell and cannot be greater than. Oh, I can't do that one just now. Well, we know the 1618 target. That was what, 181. 181. 18 at 181. So that adds up. That's like 181818, right? So that's where we'll put in 18 for them at, and I had to change the 8484 to 18.75 as well. So 0.848484, and that was going to be 18.75. So I've got 3 orders on there to sell, by the way, for folk following along with that one. But that's the fund as donated by Drew's Tech, you know. So let's try and choose what do we want in terms of this other one. So what do we have? Does anybody have coins they want to suggest and all that? Thanks both of you guys. That's why you got to love this community. I love this community so much. This community is just the best community. Yeah, I muted myself. There you go. That's what happened there. Whoops. Right. So, guys and girls, we've looked at in this show Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Tezos, OMG, Anchor, Litecoin, Orchid, but we're in on Orchid already. If I've forgotten something, I've forgotten something. So what is it? What, if any of them, has anybody got? And what we want to do here is go long because we're doing it on spot, so we're buying, and that's what we're doing. So what if all of them? Does anybody want to see us go long on? Do they want to see us go long? I'm just checking that my mic's working again now. It should be, and I'll get flooded, I'm sure, with it's working again comments in a second. Hopefully, just let me see. Is it actually? Is it? Yeah, it is. So what do we want to do? What do we think is the best? Thanks for letting me know, guys. What do we think is the best out of them, right? So Phil, I think, is putting a vote for BTC USD. Also, when you're busy on the Binance, we can't see what you're doing. Oh, right. Oh, good gosh. Oh, right, because when I'm typing in, right, sorry, wasn't being very clear there. Well, learning to be had, right? So anyway, we need to choose what's our coin. Maybe we need to create a favorites list on Binance, right? Since we've looked at some coins recently, we can do that. So I can go over to markets here and bring up the favorites and put in a few coins. So there was Link, Fiat markets, Link USDT. Add this to our favorites. There was Tezos. We've got 0xt, ANKR, OMG, LTC, sugar. There. Right, okay, yeah, I see that. I went long on DOT, says Drew, on the dip this morning, though. Small position. Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got a list, right? So we've put together a list of favorites so far. These are the coins I think we've looked at today so far, and I might be missing one here. I'm not really sure. Feta. Feta's not on this chart, though. We can't buy that. We've got our star performer so far today is Anchor. So do we want to buy into strength on the fund? Of course, we don't actually have to buy in. We just can put the order in, right? We can put the order in so it can be on a retrace, whatever. Our worst performer today is Orchid. So are we looking to have this bounce and, you know, for our worst performer today to be tomorrow's best performer, etc.? I mean, or whatever. Are we looking for one of these other things to happen, like the $300 Litecoin type scenario, you know, where we find our feet in here and rise towards the top over a period of time. So what is it? So we've got so we've got that. So I think so that's right. BTC USDT should be on that list as well because that's Phil's vote. And then in that case, we'll just don't want to be on favorites. How do I get off favorites? We'll just choose a decent buy price if that's the case. I mean, because we're just going to put in an order, right? Oh, I do have BTC on there somehow. Right, I've got the BTC, ETC, EOS. These are not favorites. So they're futures. Oh no, I don't want to be looking at that screen. Gosh, spot. What have I done wrong here? Totally forgotten how you look at the screen even at all. So there's our favorites. Great. And I want to add BTC to this favorites now. Spot markets there. Right. BTC USDT. Well, I made that well harder on myself than I should have done, but I've managed to make it through in the end. Okay, cool. Does Litecoin USDT only let you 10x? No. We're going to be using spot. It's all good. It can do spot on any of these. They say, but what this is it lets you do up to 10x on margin, is what that means. Whereas these other coins are just letting you do up to 5x on margin. So Bitcoin does 10x, Litecoin does 10x, Anchor, OMG, Link, etc. do 5x on their margin option. Link had diamond pattern, and diamond patterns usually is a sell-off, right? Yeah, exactly. But it's got is that question of it can be a continuation pattern as well. They're everything that we've looked at to an extent is kind of consolidating, right? We've got coins which have had movement today, such as this here, the Anchor, having come up to these highs, and we're right at our previous highs, and this would have been a profit taking target, okay, of course. So this would have been a profit taking target had you been playing off of this previous move, buying these dips here, and now you've come up to this zone and we've seen profit taking has ensued, and this is overall kind of been downward, but we're asking, has this recovery been enough, and is it strong enough, and can it then continue on up the way? And again, the movements, the price, the percentage moves on this are really pretty strong, you know, where if we look up towards taking a profit in at our previous area of highs here, then of course that's pretty strong as well. So, you know, there's you know, this is the strongest performer of the day. I'm expecting a pullback on this one, as we're seeing happening right now. So I wouldn't like to buy this right where it is right now. And then you've got choices like Chainlink, where yes, it's in a pattern which could easily pull back the way. But it's right in this, it's in this middle, at least, you know, while it could pull back a wee bit or whatever, it's tighter. It's I don't know what distinction I'm really trying to make there. I don't think it really matters. It's most like what's most fun. If this is actually that, I don't see that looking so diamondy on that screen, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's just bring it up again and see if I was premature in what I was saying. I ain't going to republish that video or anything, you know, or change it from what I was saying. But is that what was that the one that was saying was in a diamond type thing? Oh, I can't remember now. Confused myself too much. I don't know. Yeah. Are we going for a in all-time highs play, looking to get more all-time highs? Are we going in for a Bitcoin in all-time highs play, looking to get more all-time highs with a breakout without a pullback, or going for a pullback buy area, etc.? And it's like I'm not getting tons of votes coming in. It's really just Phil that's been talking about it. We do have a kind of a nomination for DOT, and that's that. So I guess we'll probably end up having to go with Bitcoin. That's cool. That's fine. It's totally fine. This list will build itself up over time. Yeah, absolutely. Does Litecoin USDT only let you trade on 10x? Oh, we did that already. Is that inverse head and shoulders? On which one? I suppose the delay in the audio. Oh, my camera's disappeared. Didn't realize. I should. I'm going to have to go soon, I suppose, then, because that's when I know if that's happened to me. Right. Let's do this. Let's choose a zone for our Bitcoin entry. Right, on our account that we're trading together. And let's try and be somewhat conservative about it, rather than just like going gung ho into the trade. And let's just talk about it from this type of point of view, where we've got this overall upward sloping support line. It's going very, very strongly at the minute, and we have various other noisy things on the charts from the past. So we're looking to try and get in on a trade where we come down towards the 21 EMA and we get a pullback from this area and confound everybody in the post $62,000 time frame with a move down towards the $58,000 area, with hopefully then finding our feet in it around about that zone. So let's call it. Shall we just be patient enough and risk averse enough on this to not, to not be like a YOLO account, and just, but at the same time aggressive enough to say that we're looking to play this range one last time right now. So I suppose the risky point of view I'll go with is I'll stick in a trade on Bitcoin at 5 followed by all the 7s. So I'm diving over to Bitcoin USDT here, and I'm just going to put in the trade. Now this could work out in any sort of way, but what we're doing here is spot trading. I've got $50 available. Where is it? Sorry, it's not. That's the wrong button to have hit. Let me go to the wallets and transfer here. Transfer. And we're going to transfer it from the futures to spot, and it's going to be dollars and all of them. Yeah, so we're going to put in an order at around about, so this might not happen, it might happen, who knows, and all the good stuff, but whoops, don't have that much in the account. What we're going for is 57, all the 7s, 57,777 and 77 cents. And we're putting in for all $50 of the account. So I don't know if you can see that or not at the minute on the screen. Let me just check. That's what we're going for on this one, okay? So we're setting up the fund, and it's going to have its first Bitcoin purchase there. Now, if this doesn't happen, right, just to, supposed to tie it in with the TA, if this doesn't happen, why is it not happened? Well, it's not happened because the prices never went back down that low. Where did they go down to? If they go down, well then, if they didn't go down that low, but they did drop, then it means I put in the order just slightly too low at 57,777. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Just, that's fine. In terms of if they didn't go down that way because it just went up from here, that's okay, because I'm not really that keen on buying the risk at the top of a range to then say that we're breaking on out of it prematurely right now. If we tune in and it's gone on up the way, and then we get a chance to come in on a retest or some such like that, that's a great opportunity that we can discuss at the time. So what we're going to do then, I suppose, is just check back in come Wednesday and see how things are getting on, and hopefully increase the account value over time, with all this sorts of stuff. And then of course, if people are trading altcoins on Binance and there is the option to talk about them and then for them to donate to the sort of the fun account for everybody chat thing, then that's great. And then if we can get it up to being a decent size value account, then that's cool. We did it all here, spot trading it all, I think, although in the future we can talk about futures and leverage, etc., but that's what we'll go with. Right, cool. Okay, so quick reverse roll call just to let everybody know that I love them very much. Here's the final scene here, telling everybody that they should get involved in the whole Patreon jazz and all that good stuff. And I want to say thanks to Phil. You were first and potentially even going to be the last with your comment today and this evening in the stream. Fantastic stuff. Thank you for tuning in as well. Worthy, good to see you. Nice to see you, Drew's Tech, and your fantastic donation and your enthusiasm for the idea. So that's cool that we've got a bit of fun here today with that one. That was good. I'm so glad that somebody's actually likes the idea and all the rest of it. I'm afraid that I had to kind of, that nobody told me what to trade, so I took that one. I don't want to do that though. What I want next time, Phil. So remember, this is on you next time. Is if you're going to be saying do a coin, say take a trade off of the. Take a trade off of a retest of the 50 simple moving average on the 4-hour time frame on XYZ versus PQR pairing, or whatever, that type of thing. Or I'm looking at $10 on random coin, made up coin, whatever. Let's go long from there, etc. Or you could at least come in with a direction, I guess, like along the lines of, I really want us to take a long from here, so let's take a long from here, but I'm looking at profit taking targets, so we'll long it from here and we'll choose 3 profit taking targets, kind of like the orchid one. Anyway, good stuff like that, all a bit of fun. Oh, Juan Carlos Barameda, you made it here. Nice one. I'm glad you joined. Right, great, just in time for the Cheerio session. Yeah, so hasta la siguiente, I guess, or la próxima vez. Juan, I'll see you next time. Luego, as they say. Phil, thank you. Tracepawn, thank you. Drew's Tech, thank you for tuning in. Worthy, good to see you. Zoner, nice to have had you here. I'm sorry I didn't give you a shout out during the show. Mike Payne, it was good to have, or Piani, it was good to have done your looking at your feta suggestion there. Thanks for the suggestion. Alex Harris, I hope you enjoyed the Litecoin technical analysis that we got round to in the end. Patrick Pellegrino, you're a good guy for tuning in. Thank you so much, Mr. Dangerous, as I like to call you. Randy, good to have had you here this evening as well. Yassine E, it was good to have had you as well. So that's great. Thanks very much for tuning in this evening. I'm looking forward to reading back through the chats there and catching up with everybody. Dude man, good to have had you here. And Chino Angelo Mahaba, good as well to have seen you this evening in the chitter chatter box there. Preston Renshaw, good to have had you, my friend. Thanks for tuning in and for not being a bot as well. Jean Popien, thanks very much for popping in, Jean. Nice one. Good to see John R here. Thanks very much for that. Most valuable goon, good for the coming in for the lols. Again, we had John R, Drew's Tech, Phil all chatting away there earlier. Alexandros, thanks for tuning in, and Peter Hewer, thanks for tuning in. Boris as well, you came in with a second comment. Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you in the next episode. Oh, by the way, just before I go, like, subscribe.